Picture in your mind a mirror. Do you have it? Good. Now walk through it. Like Alice through the looking glass, you have entered a reversed version of your world. A mirrored version. Similar, but wildly different. How quickly could this exciting new world go from dream to nightmare? Especially if you are being hunted by a bloodthirsty monster. Welcome back to Effing It Up.
There we go, finally. Okay, I'm done.
That was exciting.
Thank you. I think it was worth it.
I enjoyed every second of that.
All right, there's Rocket. There's my radio. You enjoyed every second of that, did you?
I did.
Wow.
I had a great time.
I don't have a pen with me, so I can't make any new notes today. Anyway.
I was like, you had notes to begin with?
I do! Look at that!
Wow. Okay, Lorelle. Okay. Happy Halloween, feral listeners. Welcome to the club with Lorelle and Maya, or should I say Wednesday and Peter Quill.
You got it. I'm Star-Lord.
Sorry. Star-Lord.
Welcome
to our season finale, our season 2 season finale, which means next up we're going to be doing season 3, so everybody get real excited about that. Ignore the fact that I sound dead inside. I'm not actually doing a Wednesday impression right now. I'm just a little bit sick.
You don't need to tell them that. Just to embrace your Wednesdayness.
Yes, I have 0 emotions and 0 feelings, and I'm obsessed with the macabre.
That's pretty good.
That's fine.
I haven't watched the show, but
I haven't.
That was pretty good.
I haven't either. This is an amalgam of all the different Wednesdays.
Okay,
Yeah.
sure. Yeah, all together. So, a month's worth of Wednesdays.
Shut up, Laura.
The number of times I hear that in a day.
Anyway, if you did not guess from our intro or by reading the title of this episode, we are talking about Stranger Things. So, for anybody who has not watched this TV series, arguably a worldwide phenomenon television series, let me do a real quick summary so everybody is on the same page for what happens in the first episode.
This will be good for me because I haven't seen the show.
Damn it, Lorelle. All right, here's the summary. In a lab on the outskirts of Hawkins, Indiana on November 6th, 1983, a scientist is seen attempting to escape from an unseen monster within an unnamed laboratory. Elsewhere in town, 4 young boys, Mike, Dustin, Lucas, and Will, are concluding their 10-hour Dungeons & Dragons campaign. The boys race home on their bikes, with Will turning off on a remote road to get back to his house. He is confronted by a humanoid creature standing in the middle of the road. The creature chases him back to his house, and Will disappears without a trace.
Oh, that's very good.
Pretty much that's the inciting incident for the first episode. So, on that vein, let's keep talking plot a little bit. Because after Will's disappearance, we were introduced to other characters. His mom, his older brother, his mom then going to the clearly burnt out alcoholic detective.
I don't know what would make you say that.
Show don't tell, Lorelle. Show don't tell.
I really haven't seen much of the show other than this first episode that I watched. I think I'd seen maybe 1 or 2 episodes back in the throes of Stranger Things hysteria.
Yeah.
That might have been back when we worked together, actually. Real throwback.
You were still wearing skirts at that point.
Yeah, that's true, I was. But yeah, that was a long time ago. You're absolutely right, but also...
No, please.
You failed
please,
to
Lorelle,
mention...
keep talking.
You are the worst.
I know. Sorry.
You failed to mention the appearance of 11. Which I assume you were going to talk about.
I was gonna get there, but then
she
you kind of
doesn't
just
show
started
up.
talking. So.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. What else would you like to say?
No, I'm done now. I would love to hear your thoughts.
Well, she doesn't even show up until near the end of the... Well, she shows up midway, I guess.
Yeah.
But you don't see much of her in the first episode.
No.
And all I knew about Stranger Things was Eleven was a sensation, so.
She is great. I don't know. I really kind of just want to jump into characters because I want to hear your opinions on characters.
Yeah, sure. Let's jump into characters. There's a lot.
Should we just talk about the main 4 boys to start?
Yeah, that's what I have at the top. I think we should start with Will.
Yeah.
Because he's the one who disappears.
He is just a tiny, cute little baby. And he actually looks, like, almost exactly like my dad did at that age, because my dad grew up in the 80s.
Oh.
So, like, my dad was this, like, scrawny little kid with a bowl cut.
I
So,
didn't
like,
know the 80s was a real time. I thought that was just made up by the TV shows.
but Will truly is, Will Byers is the punching bag of this entire series.
I don't want to hear that.
I'm sorry, it's true. This poor kid.
Does he ever come back?
I can't tell you that.
I don't know. I don't know if this is revealing too much, but I don't know how much I even enjoyed the first episode just because I was so worried about Will and, like, his poor family. And
Weak sauce, Lorelle. No, I'm kidding.
weak sauce. I know, it was just like, I felt bad for all the characters. Except for the older daughter. I didn't feel bad for her. She was kind of the worst. Nancy, I think her name is. But yeah,
I was gonna say, please tell me more about your opinions on the characters, because I've seen the whole series and you've
okay,
just seen
so
the one
you just
episode.
want me to. Okay, well, did you want to share any more thoughts on Will? All I wrote for Will was 3 frowny faces and poor baby because I felt so bad for him.
That's accurate. That's really all that needs to be said about Will. I think they do a lot of, like, good character work for him in a very short time span, given that he is the character who's going to disappear. Yeah. It's kind of very similar to how in The Exorcist, like, they made a really important decision to establish the mother-daughter relationship at the beginning, kind of before the child gets possessed, which creates kind of, like, this sense of care. So they do that, I think, really well with Will.
Yeah,
they make you care about him before they rip him away.
I noticed it was kind of a fun little thing they did with the storytelling, that when they're playing the D&D game, he says, "The Gorgon got me." I thought that was fun because we know that something does get him later on. I thought that was a nice little touch.
Very chef's kiss.
All right, Lucas, Mike. Wait, which one's Mike?
Mike's the kid who has the older sister.
Oh, okay. Lucas and Dustin were funny.
Yeah.
I like that they were constantly, like, fighting in the way that friends do, and Mike was stuck in between them.
Also, Dustin's just such a little cutie.
Dustin is so cute. He's great. Yeah, I thought that their dynamic was really interesting, where Mike was kind of like almost the older brother in a way to them, the way they were constantly at each other, and he was, like, stuck in the middle. I thought that was fun.
I mean, he's their dungeon master, so he's also the leader.
Yeah, that makes sense. You're right. I don't know. I liked Mike. He was probably my favorite character other than Will, just because I wanted to see, like, I don't know, I like a traditional heroic main character, and he felt like that to me, so I would watch the show and see where he goes with things. What do you think about Lucas, Mike, and Dustin?
Honestly, they're all adorable. It's difficult kind of just separating where I know their characters go, but just the 4 of them, the chemistry that they have together in such a short amount of time, it was like...
It's good. They feel like buddies.
I was like, okay.
Yeah.
I also recently watched an interview with the guy who plays Dustin. His name is, like, Gaten Mazzarato. I don't know how to pronounce.
Cool name.
I don't know how to pronounce his last name, but he actually does have what he mentions to the bullies in the first episode, where he's like, my teeth are gonna come in. I have cranial dysplasia.
What?
And that's why he has a kind of a little lisp and can kind of pop his shoulders out weird.
I seriously thought that. I was like, how did they do that? It looks so real.
No, it is, like, he actually has that.
Okay, that's cool.
But he mentioned how, like, those guys are, like, some of his closest friends.
Aw, that's so cool. I did think the bullying scene was kind of funny. I was like, is this how kids bully? Like, I don't know. I wasn't bullied that obviously.
No.
Okay, so there are a lot of other characters. Should we keep moving?
We shall keep moving.
All right, Nancy and Barb. I don't know if we meant to include Barb. She's not really in the first episode that much. Yeah, you want to include Barb?
Yeah, because I want you to mostly because I want you to keep watching this series.
Okay, Nancy, I don't like her at all. All she cares about is good grades and boys, which good for her, I guess. But like
Harrington.
But like, my friend, this child has gone missing, and you show zero amount of concern about it.
What if I told you that you not only started to like Nancy later, but she became one of your favorite characters in the series.
Then I would say she must change a lot. Because she was so obnoxious. It's so funny because, like, they'll be having this scene between her and Steve where they're flirting and, like, making out, and then they'll cut to the family of the missing kid, and they're, like, harrowed and, like, you know, just vibrating with anxiety. They get a creepy phone call, and the mom has, like, a mental breakdown, and they're both crying, and I'm like, this is whiplash.
Yeah.
Like, do we really need Nancy's romance in the first episode? There's enough going on.
Yes, Lorelle, it
Get rid
all
of it.
ties together.
The romance.
It all ties together. I don't know
Unless
what to tell
Steve
you.
Harrington turns out to be a bad guy, like one of the scientists, or a creature himself, I don't see the relevance.
It all ties together.
Okay, so you think it's worth watching the whole show, is what I'm hearing.
Oh, absolutely. Oh,
Okay.
sorry.
I went to
my
work.
hand?
I went to work the day after I watched this pilot episode, and I asked I said to one of my coworkers, I was like, I just watched the pilot episode of Stranger Things, and they were like, just now you're getting around to it? And I was like, should I keep watching? And they were kind of like, So I don't know, but
No.
you're saying I should, so I'll consider it. All right. Oh, and Barb. Nancy and Barb you kind of have to talk about together, because Barb, as a character, doesn't exist outside of Nancy, at least at this point.
Yeah.
And spoilers for episode 2, maybe. I know that Barb does disappear, right? Yeah. Oh, stop winking at me. 911.
I feel like the puppet master.
Lorelle
doesn't know anything, and I know
No,
everything.
I don't know anything about this show. I know there's something called the Upside Down, but like just the kind of things you hear just from it being such a phenomenon.
Yeah.
I liked Barb.
Oh, yeah.
That's why I remember being mad that like the one good character disappears. Like,
Yeah.
What would you like to say about Nancy and Barb?
Just my little cryptic things that I threw your way.
So you don't want to add anything?
No, I don't want to add anything.
Okay.
But no, sorry, I agree with you. Nancy in the first episode is trash.
She's trash.
She's trash.
Right?
She's terrible.
My word. Although the scene where they're all at the dinner table and Mike
Yeah.
rats her out for having a boyfriend.
I was like, oh.
And then
I was watching this with someone else, and they were like, that crossed a sibling boundary.
I did cross, but you know what? Valid, because his friend is missing and no one at the table seems to care besides him. I'd be mad too.
Oh,
if there was
yeah.
ever a time to cross a sibling boundary, it was right then.
Yeah.
And like, so there's all this tension at the table, and then Mike is, freaking out about his missing friend, and Nancy's freaking out about having him, reveal that she has this boyfriend, and then the mom's like, after they both leave the table, storm off, the mom's like, I hope you're enjoying your potatoes, Ted. And he's like, what did I do?
Ted is the one character that I can tell you 100% goes through zero growth through the entire 4 seasons of this show.
So he's around at least. That's
what
something.
you see in the first episode is what you get.
I laughed so hard though, because he's completely oblivious to the family drama unfolding before him.
Ted is an empty vessel.
What did I do?
Shut up, Ted.
Shut up, Ted. All right, Steve. Oh wait, hang on. Yeah, I'll talk about Steve next. Steve. He seems like the stereotypical kind of obnoxious jock.
Yeah.
But I know people talk about him a lot, so I know they like him a lot for some reason. I don't like the way you're just sitting there sending out vibes. It's gross.
Watch more, Lorelle. Watch the next episode. Watch the whole season, Lorelle.
I feel like Steve is charismatic, but like, I don't know, he's like one of those guys who knows he's cute.
Yes, absolutely.
And knows all the right things to say.
Yeah.
Barf.
Oh, yeah. Steve Harrington, in the first episode, trash.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly.
We could have gone through the
Nancy
whole character
and Steve
thing and
deserve
just said trash or treasure.
Trash or treasure. Okay, you're right. Nancy, trash. Barb, treasure.
Yep.
Steve, trash. Will, Lucas, Mike, and Dustin, all
Treasures.
treasure. Yep.
Ted,
absolutely.
trash.
Ted, trash. But entertaining trash.
Yes.
Anything you care to add about Steve?
No.
Thank you for that input.
It's my turn. You're carrying this episode. Good luck. I'm
All
sick.
right. Well, you're right. Yeah. Therefore, let us move on to Hopper, who was possibly the most interesting character of the first episode.
Mm-hmm.
Well, toss up between Hopper and 11, I suppose.
Yeah.
I
just, like, I want to spoil things for you so much, and I'm just, like, keeping it all inside.
Holding it in spoil for everyone.
I was not anticipating how difficult this is going to be.
So Hopper is interesting because they do the whole morning routine thing with him, which is always kind of a risky move because we've seen that a million times.
Yeah, but nothing gives you a better character than the cigarette, the open belt buckle, and then washing your pills down with a canned beer.
Yeah, and so they do all of that, and it's just kind of like a certain vibe. I don't know how to explain it. And then he gets dressed, and you find out he's a sheriff or an officer or whatever. And it's that little moment of, like, what you thought you knew about him. And then it just reframes everything. I thought that was cool.
That's so good. Can I tell you another Hopper moment that I really love in the first episode? Yeah. He walks into the office, like, all cavalier, like, grabs his donuts and says, no, what did I tell you? Mondays are for coffee and contemplation. We're not working this morning. And then he walks into his office, and Joyce Byers is standing there holding a cigarette and shaking. And then suddenly he's in cop mode. He's in protective friend mode. And then throughout the episode, you see him start to slowly put pieces together, and you realize, oh, everything we thought about him is not where we his character doesn't go the direction that we thought it would. He's not the lazy cop. He's a good cop. He's a dedicated cop.
It's fun to see him start to take it seriously, and you see how good he is at what he does. Like, he's actually a very good detective.
Yeah.
Like a smart detective. And you suddenly feel like this
Will
family
has
Will has a chance. Like, there's someone in his corner who has maybe the wit to actually make progress there. And you know that when those shady scientist guys show up and start spewing,
bullshit.
That's what I was thinking, thank you. That he's not gonna fall for it.
Yeah.
And I assume that moment will come at some point. Maybe they'll just shoot everyone.
Maybe they just kill everyone, actually. Nobody wins.
Nobody
gets saved.
That is honestly why I stopped watching the show, though, because I remember I watched maybe 2 episodes however many years ago. It does not make you feel like everyone's going to live. Like, you know how Lockwood and Co. we talked about how it feels like, well, they'll make it out of this, at least. Like, they'll survive.
Yeah, no, you're questioning the whole time.
No. I don't feel good about this show. Like, the cook who helps 11, delightful person, dead.
Well, yes.
Barb, the only decent human being in the town, dead. Maybe.
Well.
Yeah. The good people die is the vibe. You feel like the children will probably survive, but other than that, there isn't much to. It feels a little depressing.
Anybody's up for grabs.
I know, it literally grabs. Although I have to say that scene. This is jumping back to when Will disappears. That scene where the creature shows up on the road gave me a little fright, and then you don't see him again. Not in full frame. I thought that was brilliantly done as well. Yeah. Another
it's so good.
Another moment of just the perfect amount of showing and not showing.
Yep.
Because it was scary, and then it was worse because you didn't see him. Okay. Yeah. You wanted to talk about whom now?
Joyce, the
mom.
Played by the impeccable Winona Ryder.
Perhaps too impeccable.
Yes.
It reminded me of when we talked about Daredevil, how every scene Paige was in where she was just
distress.
Oozing
distress and anxiety. Yes.
And it makes you feel it because she's such a good actress. Exactly the same thing here.
Yeah.
I do not enjoy any scene she's in because I just feel bad. She's the kind of actress that forces you to empathize with what she's feeling, and that's amazing. But bleh.
Yeah. It gets better with Joyce.
Freaking better.
I love her. She's tenacious, and it's kind of I'll say she's the same thing with Hopper, where it's when the mom is taking the disappearance so seriously, and you can tell from the first episode she will do whatever she possibly can to get her son back. He's got a chance.
She's got those mom powers.
Yeah, she's got those mom powers, and that's what honestly I think one of my favorite parts.
Oh, should we also talk about 11? We didn't even really talk about 11.
We should talk about 11.
We should probably talk about 11 since the whole show is kind of about her, I think.
She intrigued you, didn't she?
She definitely is intriguing. She's very much a mystery in the first episode. Like, you can
Yeah.
see she doesn't speak, really. Like, she doesn't understand language fully, which is very concerning. Because it either means that these lab guys raised her from a baby and never bothered to teach her anything, or they got her from this alternate reality, which is concerning in a whole other way, possibly. I really hate how quiet you're being. It's pissing me off.
Because I want you to watch the whole season, Lorelle.
I feel like it would make more sense if they got her from this alternate reality where the other creatures are coming from. Because otherwise, why would she not speak? I don't know.
I don't know.
And she's clearly got telekinetic powers. So it's interesting. She's very naive, but at the same time,
very powerful.
Very powerful.
Really good
I don't know.
combination.
She's very intriguing. I like how Mike is this very kind, secure character, and then you have 11 who needs someone like that, and that she finds that. Like, you need that heart, that core. I think, and I think maybe like the heart of the show isn't so much Joyce and the missing kid. Like, that's part of it, but that's a very anxiety-ridden storyline. I think the heart is maybe more 11 and the boys, I think.
Yeah.
At least that's what I'm perceiving from episode 1.
This isn't a spoiler. I can tell you you are correct.
Aw, well, that's good.
Yeah.
Yay.
Or I'm just lying to get you to keep watching.
I believe you would do that. Shall we move on to atmosphere?
Let's move on to atmosphere. Let me pull up my atmosphere notes.
Yeah, what do you got? Are you going to actually say something now?
Oh, shut up.
This is my podcast now. Not that I know how to do anything.
I do love the 80s synth music mixed with kind of the classic rock and roll songs. The soundtrack is just so good. And I feel like I can't talk about this show. I'm kind of jumping around a little bit, but I can't talk about the show without talking about how much I think like the nostalgia factor plays into this. Like, that's what they were doing. I was gonna say that's something that a lot of people talk about, but like you can see the influences from, I'll say, core memories that I think a lot of people had like growing up. Like when you were talking about the humanoid creature appearing in the middle of the road, like the perfect amount of seeing the creature and not seeing the creature. Like, all I could think about was in the movie Signs, kind of that iconic it's a M. Night Shyamalan horror movie. And people talk about it being one of the scariest jump scares because it's like live TV camera footage, and an alien just like slowly like walks across the road, and it's so quick, but like it scared the shit out of people. And like
a generation.
I watched it for the first time and I was like, yeah, I get it. And then like there's just moments that they're emulating during this, like, you know, like the scary laboratory that you've seen before with the like the fluorescent lighting. It's like, okay, I've seen this before.
Very backrooms, as they say. Yeah.
Like they're just picking a lot of things that feel really familiar, and it creates kind of just this like, I think I talked about it, like a looking glass world. Like,
yeah, you're right.
Not even to reference the Upside Down, but even the show itself is like a mirrored version of like the world we live in now.
The laboratory scenes especially felt very video gamey. Even the logo of Stranger Things is written like in 1980s style horror or like science fiction novel cover, which I thought was cool.
Oh, it's beautiful.
It's beautiful.
I think if you remember when we did our top 10 TV intros, I had Stranger Things on mine pretty high up. I can't remember what number it was.
Yeah. But. Yeah, I didn't skip that theme.
Yeah,
I listened to the whole thing.
It's just great.
It's just great. It just feels spooky and ominous and like exciting and adventurous all at the same time.
It's like you kind of get everything. It's the best of both worlds, like all mashed together. Like the energy you got from watching like the Goonies movie.
You keep referencing. I haven't seen any of these things.
Laurel, could you just pretend you've seen
I
it?
I
for the
pretended when
sake
you
of-
said Signs, when you said The
No,
Exorcist.
you didn't pretend when I said Signs. You said, I don't know what you're talking about. What do you mean?
No, I said, is that, and then I stopped.
You know, when you're doing improv, you're supposed to say yes, and
I could have been
you're
saying,
not supposed to say
is
no.
that my favorite movie? You don't know. Maybe I was just saying, is that the movie
Sorry,
I watched
why-
last week?
Sorry, why don't you reference the movies that make sense to you? Like, what part of this reminded you of Space Chimps?
What you're giving me. The movies I watch are just so erudite and intellectual. So highbrow. I just don't think they can compare.
You're right. I couldn't possibly understand it.
You said, what did you say? Looking Glass. I wrote painting-esque sets. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay,
Yeah.
we were on the same wavelength.
We were. Like, the composition of the sets just feels very... Just like a painting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, they're beautiful.
Yeah.
Like, it looks like a movie, and I like that.
Yes.
I enjoy that when they are like, I'm not afraid to make this look like it was set.
It really feels like a movie, you know.
Bringing that back, are we?
Yeah.
It does feel like a movie. It's good.
No, you're right. It's got that depth to it, you know.
Yeah, I don't think we've talked about Our Flag Means Death on this show, but I remember saying the same thing. Like, it feels like it looks like a classical painting.
Yes.
And I thought about that a little bit with this one as well. Like, it's just
So good.
it's good. It's beautiful. It's messy. It's got that tactile, like,
It makes you feel like joy and nostalgia and also like...
and you want to interact with the stuff.
But also spooky, anxiety.
Yeah, like when you compare the set of some of the houses or like the treehouse hideaway, and then you look at the way the labs were just like sterile and empty and flickering lights and
Yeah.
just ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
There's just this underlying darkness to the town that
Yeah, absolutely.
that you just feel, and it's so good. I'm gonna just
Very
sound like
good.
a broken record, but
And I have to say, I watched this, it was late, and I had worked a full day.
oh, Laurel, I'm sorry.
No, I'm saying this as a good thing. It kept my attention the whole time. I did not fall asleep. And it was like midnight. So
That is impressive.
I'm a bed at 8 kind of person these days, so it's not done.
So nice.
Saying. Was there anything else you wanted to say about Atmosphere?
I feel like I covered it. I started yapping and went on a nice tangent, and
I like when
then
you yap.
you interrupted me, so that's
it's-
par for the course.
It's a podcast. Yapping is what we do.
Yapping is what we do.
2 white girls yapping. Just what the world needed. There wasn't enough of that.
That's gonna be the tagline for season 3. Having it up.
I
2
support
white
that.
girls yapping. Just what the world needed.
I support that as a tech. All I wrote another was awesome intro / theme, which we already talked about, but it is awesome.
It is awesome.
So it gets another shout out. And then I also had made a little note about some of the tonal whiplash, but I also talked about that already in Atmosphere, I think, or maybe in Character. So I thought that was a little odd, but you keep insisting it all needed to be in there, so...
Yeah, I think you just need to watch the whole season now.
I think-
Honestly. I'm going to use my time and other to tell you repeatedly that you should just watch the whole season.
I think I need to know in what way is their smooching it up relevant to the monster plot, because I think if one of them gets taken by a monster, they should have had like spooky stuff happening while they were smooching.
The smooching is just realistic.
Was it though? Yeah, probably.
I'm like, I'm sorry, I recognize that you have never made out with a shitty boyfriend in high school,
He
but
sucks.
I have.
I don't see what she sees in him, but I also don't see what he sees in her, so
So yeah.
they deserve each other. I like how she's like, I need to study. And he's like, but I want to make out with you. And she's like, but I need to study. Come over and help me study. And she like kind of does this like attitude thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then when he comes over to make out with her, she's like, I told you I needed to study. I'm like, girl, you were sending him signals. Stop
So
pretending.
you're saying she was asking for it?
How dare you?
I'm sorry.
I'm not ready for this.
You set yourself up for that one.
I do not want this to become the incel podcast.
I mean, you are dressed as the biggest incel in the galaxy, so...
Unfortunately, that's true, but I couldn't dress up as Rocket because that would just be uncanny.
It would just be
I'm
a
afraid.
furry.
You're right, I would just be a furry. No, I couldn't do it.
But anyway.
Alright, I retract my statement. They should kiss all they want to. I'm really sorry that I insinuated.
Thank you. Some of us like kissing. Lorelle.
Ew.
Anyway, so, Lorelle, despite the fact that you've only seen 2 episodes, you haven't seen the whole series, based on your initial impressions, are you giving this a pass or a fail? 1, 2, 3.
Pass. I give it a pass. I would watch more of it, especially since you've been telling me to watch more of it.
I've been just
Maya
harassing
keeps
you the whole
saying,
episode.
watch more of it. And then she sends me vibes.
But I do a little eyebrow raise, like
just a little eyebrow.
You want to know?
Eyebrow.
I'm like, you want to know the answer to that? Watch more. Watch the whole season.
I'd rather you just spoil everything for me, and then I don't have to watch it.
Oh, I could do that too, but I can't do that on camera. So let me.
You're right.
Let me wrap this up real quick. I just made some closing notes, and I will say about this TV show and why it is passing.
Go off, Queen.
As the very handsome man I watched this episode with pointed out, there hasn't been a worldwide phenomenon like TV series like Stranger Things in a long time. Like, this was a common denominator show. This was the one where multiple people would say, have you seen Stranger Things? And you know what? I personally still feel like it lives up to the freaking hype. This show is a masterpiece. And I think Lorelle should watch the entire season. But because she is a human with free will, you're all just going to have to find out in season 3 if she actually did or not.
Maya's literally welding me into this seat and rolling a TV in front of my face as we speak.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So Lorelle and I are going to keep recording episodes, but as for you, our lovely audience, we will see you guys again in January, the first week in January. We will be talking movie reboots. Hopefully we're going to talk about some Disney live action remakes, and we're going to be so mad all the time, and it's going to be an amazing time. So if you have anything that you want to hear us talk about, please comment on our Instagram, leave us a DM. Like, we'll watch whatever you guys want. We're an empty vessel right now, so...
Speak for yourself, pal. My vessel is at least 1/4 of the way full.
On that note, thank you guys again for joining us in season 2. We'll see you all in season 3, and as always, keep it feral. Bye, everyone. Thank you for listening to another episode of Effing It Up. If you're enjoying these episodes, please like and subscribe. You can follow us on Instagram at _effingitup_ or on our YouTube channel where we post the video format of our show. If you have content that you want us to cover, we want to hear about it. Feel free to DM us on Instagram or leave us a comment on our YouTube channel. Thank you again.